Today we're looking at a Arcane Bombardment deck that's ostensibly Izzet, but is really more of a mono blue deck with some red cards tucked in to enable some of our spell-slinging themes. We're starting off with 4 Arcane Bombardment and 4 Burn Down the House. Always a solid foundation for any Arcane Bombardment deck, since Burn Down the House acts like a board wipe, or a way to finish off a game quickly depending on the situation. One of my other favorite cards in here, Invoke The Winds, is here as a 4 of. We've got this as a way to steal troublesome creatures from our opponent and use them for our own gain, and then we can recur Invoke the Winds using Arcane Bombardment, of course, but we've also got 3 Founding the Third Path as well. This is an interesting, kind of flexible Swiss Army knife of a card that lets us immediately use one of our other spells in hand, like a Rona's Vortex, for example, or an Impulse, mill some more cards into our graveyard to feed Arcane Bombardment, and then recycle things on the off chance that Arcane Bombardment either isn't around, or we want to pluck something very specific from our graveyard and use it that turn in the late game. Think turn 6 or 7, for example. So in this particular build, it actually works out pretty decently. Was kind of happy with that. Other kind of strange things we're running in here. We got a couple of copies of Startle. I wanted to try this out because it basically cycles itself, could save a little bit of damage from an attacking creature, and if it gets picked up from Bombardment, it's just a great cheap way to draw a card and make a token. Now, I know the token can't block, but we kind of need ways to finish off the opponent quickly if we don't have a Burn Down the House, for example, and so I figured this would be just another way to make some tokens and help close out a game once we've established and kind of got Arcane Bombardment going. Looking at some other things in the deck, we've got a couple of counterspells, just 1 Disdainful Stroke and 1 Negate down here, 1 Impede Momentum, because it's sometimes good for just kind of tapping an early creature and keeping it tapped down for a little while. Also running 2 Thirst for Discovery, which is a solid draw 3 spell, and since we've got so many basic islands in here, it's not a huge drawback should we have to discard a land. Running 1 Celestus is kind of our one mode of life gain, and another way to churn through the top of the deck. 4 Memory Deluge, a very good card selection as well, and we can repeatedly cast that, of course. 4 Xander's Lounge helps us activate Rona's Vortex on time. Celestus chips in a little bit with that too as well, but you can see we've got plenty of blue sources going on here to always be able to cast Invoke the Winds on time at turn 5 if we get that far. Now let's check out some of these games on the ranked standard ladder. I'll be sticking with you for some commentary on these games, but as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Well, we are here with our Izzet Arcane Bombardment deck. As you can see, we've got all the fun late game stuff, but no reliable way to get there yet. So let's keep 6, put a Startle back, and go with this. Very heavy on the blue mana in order to hard cast Invoke the Winds on our way up the chain to Arcane Bombardment. Not wanting to depend on dumping things in the graveyard so much, since Graveyard Trespasser is everywhere. Lots of removal floating around. Need a little something more to do in the early game. We'll hang on to this stuff for now. Regular Phyrexian Missionary. Opponent gets in with a Dorothy. Dorothy now able to come back as an enchantment for 3. Let's cycle this Startle off. I think we gotta wait one more turn on this Founding the Third Path. Trying to time it just right so that I can Invoke the Winds, and then the following turn activate the Third Path and invoke again. Can't block. Alright, if we found the third path here, that means we will mill at 5 mana, and so I think now is the time. We'll start on chapter 1, but do nothing. Or the opponent will counter it. I was going to say, there's a lot of reading happening. We'll keep our zombie around. looks intimidating. We will mill ourselves. 2 burn down the house and a Memory Deluge. Well, let's keep them without a target for Dorothy. That is fine. Wonder if Duplimancy is in there somewhere. You don't see Shore Up too much.
There's no secret I can't.
All right, well. Let's invoke some winds. See if they'll let us do it this time. It works. Grand. Throw that away. Meat hook for 3. Ninja. But Kaido is vulnerable now, so let's burn down the house. Play a land. Try and get them to play something a little more meaningful that we can outright steal with Invoke the Winds. Rafine is good, if we can snatch it. We do. Lovely. Oh, right on time. Love it when a plan comes together. We'll attack with Rafine, draw 1, discard this island. Probably draw with the Lounge. We've got all the red mana we could ever ask for in this configuration. Paragon comes back, but not enough mana available to cast anything unless they're hiding a land up there. Oh, no, my bad. They got a couple of 2 mana things they could do. Sure. Dorothy. Okay, well, I can't do anything else. We'll cycle this away. An additional Invoke the Winds. They may want to block with this Dorothy. Well, I say we just hit them while they're tapped out. Dorothy, the thing I really have no interest in stealing. I will take that, though. Get a Founding of the Third Path back. Sounds great to me. Get in for a good chunk of damage, and we're set up to recycle and Invoke the Winds this turn, too. An additional Paragon. They can Kaido or Missionary, but can't kick it. Their own Rafine. All right. Well, if we steal Rafine, we're going to have to sack ours. We can steal the Paragon. What do we have in our hand? A Negate. Or if we Impede Momentum. Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say, it's getting a little complicated there, but we'll take it. Good game. All right, we are here with our Is It Arcane Bombardment deck that's really closer to a mono blue deck. We're going first. We've got an Impulse. I'm confident in the heart of the cards to bring us out of this 2-land hand. Drawing all of our expensive stuff right away. Ooh, Plaza of Heroes. This should be interesting. Let's draw another island here. Probably Impulse again. Start working towards those red manas. Fable, that's good. Grab a Coast. Probably Memory Deluge. Well, just to keep them slow too. Let's get rid of this token. Oh, we got the spare mana. All right. Never in doubt. So this deck doesn't use Big Score, unlike a lot of my other Arcane Bombardment decks. Big Score is great for ramping up to 6 and then getting you to activate Bombardment a little bit early. But since we kind of lean on Invoke the Winds and being able to hard cast it, we're trying a different approach where we just kind of work our way up the chain of mana, that is. Sorry, just doing some thinking. So we work our way up the chain of mana, and then Arcane Bombardment just kind of becomes the cherry on top of all that to help reuse some of our invoke spells. I've seen that card go off before. I'd rather have it on my side. Thank you. We'll try to invoke again on this reflection too. Or maybe just steal Atsushi here. Yeah, it seems okay. We're eventually going to be able to recycle these invokes. Opponent could lay something down and copy it immediately, which would not be great for us. Thankfully, they have nothing. Excellent. All right, well, for Founding to get us Invoke back immediately, we would need one more land to be able to cast it. So we could lay it down, mill some cards, and plan to do it next turn. We'd have mana left over to Memory Deluge on top of that, or Startle to get another zombie if we want it. Let's see what our opponent does with these attacks first. I should probably read this card. All right, so they are likely going to exile one of these creatures. Probably Atsushi gives us the biggest benefit. Great.
You're done.
Let's start on chapter 2. All right. Getting more nervous with this reflection online, but hopefully they just drew nothing but lands. We're going to be able to recycle and invoke the winds on our following turn, or something else. We can certainly Memory Deluge here. Ratadrabic, okay. And another Rivaz. So we're looking to recycle the dragons, I see. No mana left to copy. They're going to put a counter on Ratadrabic. Let's Memory Deluge then. Got Burn Down the House here, which is not too helpful, and another land. Well, that could be a win condition eventually. Let's see. I think I'd like to steal that Ratadrabic. Although Rivaz will allow them to bring a dragon back. That's Ward 2, correct? So we can't do that one. We'll just do this. Got all thrown off there. We'll keep this one. All right. What I'm waiting for is for them to have no other legendary creatures on the board. And we can hopefully burn down the house. Yes. All right. I think it's our chance. Okay. Let's burn down the house, and that will clear all of this off. And then we can start getting some crazy card advantage with Bombardment. Especially if we draw an untapped land. Oh no, Plaza of Heroes. All right, well. Live and learn, I guess. So we'll need a similar situation at the end of this turn. No other legendaries, please. Take Numa here. Wonder what they'll grab. They grab a Rivaz. Okay, okay. Ratadrabbit gets in there. I think a timely Invoke the Winds here, so that they don't get to churn out dragons and do that thing. Yeah, we'll just throw this away. We will startle our own creature just to cycle this card away. These are in here as a way to draw cards a little more consistently. I was between this and the other stun card we've been using in the past. Rona's Vortex, a decent answer to this. Excellent. Can't think of a reason to hang on to this creature that can't block for us. So we'll get in for 2. Just trying to get an opening where we can start bombarding.
May your blade strike true.
Burn down the house is a good answer for this. More samurai, okay.
To me. Back to wandering.
Burn down the house again. Probably hang on to this Startle to activate Bombardment. That's a good draw. Bombardment here. We'll save the Startle for our opponent's turn. So if we don't end up picking up and Invoke the Winds, at least it won't hurt as much when it hits us. We will spook the Dawn Sky a little bit. We pick up a Impulse. We'll take Impulse over Negate. Feels like they're running a lot of legendary creatures, and so this will help us at least get an answer to some of those, rather than trying to negate something. We'll draw with the Bankbuster. All right, there's an Invoke. Can we Celestus and Invoke? I think we can. All right. Well, Memory Deluge doesn't actually draw us any cards when you cast it off a bombardment. Here, I'll show you. Because you don't spend any mana to cast it, you don't get to look at anything. Well, we'll take the card that does something instead of the 3 lands. Grab the dragon. And get in there. Glad we were able to get this Celestus down to start drawing and gaining some life, more importantly. We can also keep 1 mana up for this Rona's Vortex in case they try to get cute with the Bank Buster. Opponent really trying to finish us off here. We'll block 1. Vortex another. Okay, we pick up a pair of impulses. We'll take a founding to maybe recycle something. Burn down the house is a good win condition eventually. Just focusing on survival for the moment. So this will put us to 3. Wedding announcement. Draws him a card. All right. Burning down the house, we can do 8 damage. Take a look at what else we have down here. Just bounce this devil here. See what we get. Well, that will be a little bit of extra insurance, and that wraps it up. Good game. All right. Another game with Is It Arcane Bombardment. Trying out some more unusual cards in this version. 2 bombardments in the opening hand is not ideal, but hopefully our opponent's start is not too quick. Regular old Tainted Adversary from our opponent. Let's impede some momentum, try to set up our next few draws. Definitely don't need the 3rd Arcane Bombardment yet. Vortex a good draw. We'll be online with black mana next turn. I think right now we'll just Impulse at the end of our opponent's turn. Impulse here. Maybe a land, maybe some card draw. Opponent missed a land drop there. We'll keep this Disdainful Stroke should we need it, or just Memory Deluge at the opponent's next end step. Circuit Mender. Oh, this looks spicy. I like it. All right, we're going to Deluge, pick up a couple of things. Burn down the house is going to be great. And a land. All right, wasn't necessary, but that's okay. Let's see here. Well, I think we are 2 more turns from activating Bombardment, so what do we want to do in the meantime? Let's draw with this Lounge and keep up the Stroke for the following turn. Next turn we can burn down the house, and then assuming we draw another land, we'll be able to Bombardment and go right into Vortex. Oh, but they've got a Trespasser. Well, we'll let them trespass away that Deluge. Not much we can do there. Let's draw with this. Alright, we pick up a Celestus. There's that land we need. We can't Celestus and burn down the house right now. But let's wipe the board. Buys us time. Gets burned down the house in the graveyard to start making tokens. We can activate the Vortex this turn. That is fine. So once we Vortex, what's the plan there? Well, we'll figure it out. This isn't a draw, so we get to just put something into our hand. Another burn down the house can't hurt. It's an answer for Shieldred should they decide to just replay that now. And the more of those in the graveyard, the more devils we get to keep making. Ah, good. So no Invoke Despair means we're open for a lot of stuff. And we should have enough mana to keep up Disdainful Stroke if they do draw Invoke Despair. So we'll do 5 with this because we don't know if we're going to pick up the other burn down the house. And we'll just Impulse right now. Decline that. Invoke the Winds is great. We already have an instant to activate Bombardment on our opponent's turn, so let's just go ahead and pass for now. Alright, let's do a Thirst here just to get a free activation. Sooner we can pull burn down the house in, sooner we can end this game. Make some devils, Impulse for something else. Vortex is always nice. Yep, we'll discard a basic land here. Alright, it is night. Let us Celestus and Devils. Opponent with the double Shadow Prophecy. We drawn a few things there. Path of Peril sweeps the devils away. It's alright, there's more where they came from. Alright, would really love to activate this turn, so let's see what we can do with the Celestus. Discard this extra Vortex and burn down the house for some more devils. Get an Impulse in there too to pick out what we're doing next. And let's Thirst, why not? We'll take a Founding in here just in case there's a specific thing we want to recast from the graveyard. We can skip ahead to chapter 3. Alright, opponent very close to a position where It's going to be impossible to kill these devils without a Meat Hook Massacre. Exiles one, that's one way to do it. Huh, I didn't realize Rona's Vortex was something that we don't control, so we can't use it to activate our own bombardment. So what we might do here is found the third path, skip directly to 3, use Burn Down the House to activate bombardment, and get a load of devils for the win. Devils, please. Lets us leave up both Rona or Disdainful Stroke. Activates bombardment. Let's get some more devils going here. And we'll thirst as well. Negate in hand is wonderful. That should just about wrap it up. I don't think we need much more. We'll grab an impulse here. Unless you got a fog over there or a festival, I'm not sure you're going to wrap this up. Opponent will Fateful Absence. We'll do 1 to the face. That's still another 9 coming over. All right, well, good game.